On October 5, the New York Times published allegations against film mogul Harvey Weinstein by women who say he sexually harassed them. Following that article, The New Yorker published its own investigation, revealing 3 women had accused Weinstein of rape. In the following days, many more women have come forward with allegations. Over the past few weeks, since the story first came to light, over 30 women have come forward with allegations against Weinstein. Weinstein responded to the New York Times' initial article alleging sexual harassment. A Weinstein spokeswoman, Sally Hoffmeister, issued the following statement: "Any allegations of non-consensual sex are unequivocally denied by Mr. Weinstein." Mr. Weinstein has further confirmed that there were never any acts of retaliation against any women for refusing his advances. Below is a list of those who allege that they were victimized in some way by Harvey. Teen Vogue will continue to update this list as more accusers come forward. Alice Evans. In an essay for The Telegraph, actress Alice Evans claims that Weinstein tried to touch her at the Cannes Film Festival. "Just go. I'm right behind you. I want to touch your tits. Kiss you a little," the producer allegedly said. Evans also claims that her rejection of Weinstein negatively impacted her husband's career. Amber Anderson. Actress Amber Anderson took to Instagram to share her story about Weinstein. In her post, she claims that the producer coerced her into a private meeting in 2013, where he propositioned her with a personal relationship. "He told me not to tell anyone I was alone with him, told me if I did it might affect my opportunities," Anderson wrote. "He tried to take my hand and put it in his lap, which is when I managed to leave the room." Amber battled Ana Gutierrez. In 2015, Gutierrez, a model, went to the police and alleged that Weinstein had sexually harassed her. She later wore a wire during a New York Police Department sting and taped Weinstein admitting that had groped her previously. The operation didn't lead to charges or a trial, but the audio was published by The New Yorker. Angelina Jolie told The New York Times that she had a bad experience with Weinstein in the late 1990s. "I had a bad experience with Harvey Weinstein in my youth, and as a result, chose never to work with him again and warn others when they did," she told The New York Times. "This behavior towards women in any field, any country is unacceptable." Angie Everhart. Actress Angie Everhart alleges that Weinstein masturbated in front of her during the Venice Film Festival. The incident reportedly took place while Everhart was staying on the same boat as the producer. "I had just arrived and I was sleeping. I was in my bed," the actress says. "I wake up and Harvey is standing above my bed. All of a sudden he takes his pants down and starts doing his stuff." Everhart claims that Weinstein later said to her, "You're a really nice girl. You shouldn't tell anybody about this." Ashley Judd was the first accuser to be cited in the initial New York Times piece detailing Weinstein's alleged harassment. According to the New York Times, Weinstein invited Judd to a breakfast meeting when she was a young actress. When she arrived, Judd told the New York Times, she was instead sent to Weinstein's room, where he was waiting in a bathrobe, and asked if he could give her a massage or she could watch him shower. "How do I get out of the room as fast as possible without alienating Harvey Weinstein?" Judd told the New York Times she was thinking at the time. Asia Argento told The New Yorker that Weinstein raped her by forcibly performing oral sex on her. Argento told The New Yorker she didn't come forward until now because she feared he would crush her. "I know he has crushed a lot of people before," she said. "That's why this story, in my case, it's 20 years old, some of them are older, has never come out." Cara Delevingne said Weinstein had sexually harassed her on at least 2 separate occasions. During one, he called her and asked her about her sexual orientation and sexual partners, and at a later unspecified date, he seemingly propositioned her and another unidentified woman for sex. "I was so hesitant about speaking out. I didn't want to hurt his family," she said on Instagram. "I felt guilty as if I did something wrong. I was also terrified that this sort of thing had happened to so many women I know, but no one had said anything because of fear." Claire Forlani took to Twitter to allege that she had escaped Weinstein's advances on 5 different occasions over the years. "This sort of thing was something my generation dealt with, all the time," she wrote. "For me it started at age 14. My parents had 2 male friends who I trusted and adored, and they were deeply inappropriate. It happened all the time when I modeled, and it happened all through my 20s in the film business. For us it was something you weren't supposed to make a big deal out of. It was sadly our normal." Dawn Dunning. According to the account she gave to The New York Times, actress Dunning expected to attend a dinner with Weinstein in 2003. Instead, she was allegedly directed to his hotel room, where he was waiting in a bathrobe. In the room, Dunning alleged, were papers that Weinstein reportedly said were contracts for his next 3 films. Dunning alleged that Weinstein said she could sign them only if she had a threesome with him. Emily Nestor. In 2014, Nestor had worked as a temporary employee at the Weinstein Company for one day when Weinstein allegedly invited her to a hotel room in the Peninsula Hotel, the same hotel where Judd says her altercation took place. According to the New York Times, Nestor said Weinstein would help her succeed in her career if she accepted his sexual advances. Emma Decanis, the French actress, told The New Yorker that in 2010, Weinstein asked her to lunch after they had met at a party. Weinstein reportedly lured Decanis up to his hotel room under the guise of showing her a book he was turning into a movie. In the room, Decanis alleges Weinstein went to the bathroom, then emerged naked with an erection and instructed her to lay down on the bed. She was able to leave the room but told The New Yorker that the television director she saw directly after the alleged incident confirmed she was distraught and confirmed the account of her interaction with Weinstein. Florence Darrell told People that Weinstein propositioned her for sex in the mid-1990s at a hotel while his then-wife, Eve Chilton, was staying in the room next door. Gwyneth Paltrow alleges that Weinstein made an advance on her when she was 22, just before she began shooting the movie Emma. Paltrow told The New York Times that after a meeting in his hotel suite, Weinstein put a hand on her leg and suggested they go to the bedroom for massages. Paltrow said she refused and left, but later told her then-boyfriend, Brad Pitt. Pitt reportedly confronted Weinstein, which Paltrow said she feared would get her fired. "I was a kid. I was signed up. I was petrified," she said. Jessica Barth told The New Yorker that Weinstein had asked her in 2011 to give him a massage while he was naked. The incident reportedly inspired Seth MacFarlane to make a joke about it at the 2013 Oscars after Barth told him about the event. "Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein," he said on stage at the awards show. MacFarlane later clarified on Twitter that his comments had come from a place of loathing and anger and weren't meant to make light of the situation. Judith Godrech met Weinstein in 1996 at the Cannes Film Festival. She alleges that Weinstein invited her up to his hotel suite to talk business but then started asking her for a massage. When she refused, Godrech said, "Weinstein told her casual massages are an American custom. The next thing I know, he's pressing against me and pulling off my sweater," she told The New York Times. Heather Graham wrote for Variety that in the early 2000s, Weinstein implied during a conversation that she would have to have sex with him if she wanted a role in one of his upcoming films. After declining, Graham said she never worked with him professionally, and she didn't come forward for many years. "While I still do feel guilty for not speaking up all those years ago, I'm glad for this moment of reckoning. To the countless other women who have experienced the gray areas, I believe you," she said. Kate Beckinsale told The Hollywood Reporter that she met Weinstein when she was 17 years old and he invited her up to his hotel room, where he greeted her wearing only a robe and offered her alcohol. While she was able to leave without further incident, Beckinsale said when she met Weinstein years later, he couldn't recall the event. "A few years later, he asked me if he had tried anything with me in that first meeting. I realized he couldn't remember if he had assaulted me or not," she said to The Hollywood Reporter, and she continued to say no to Weinstein over the years when it came to many film projects. "It speaks to the status quo in this business that I was aware that standing up for myself and saying no to things, while it did allow me to feel uncompromised in myself, undoubtedly harmed my career and was never something I felt supported by anyone other than my family." Catherine Kendall, after seeing a screening of a movie with Weinstein when she was 23, Kendall told The New York Times the studio had said he had to pick something up from his apartment, and she went with him. After drinking and chatting in his home for about an hour, Kendall alleged that Weinstein went to the bathroom, emerged in a bathrobe, and asked her for a massage. When she declined, he took off the robe and chased her, then tried to get her to show her breasts. Kendall refused. Katya Mtsitoridze, Russian TV host and film executive Katya Mtsitoridze alleges that Weinstein arranged for a private meeting in 2004 during the Venice Film Festival. At the meeting, Mtsitoridze claims that Weinstein greeted her in a bathrobe, where he allegedly said his masseuse was late and they could have fun without her. Prior to this incident, Mtsitoridze says that the producer had invited her to his hotel multiple times. Laura Madden, a former assistant of Weinstein's, told The New York Times that he propositioned her for massages during the 1990s. "It was so manipulative," she told The Times. You constantly question yourself, am I the one who is the problem? Lauren Sivens even was one of the first women to come forward after the first bombshell New York Times story, alleging to HuffPost that a decade ago, Weinstein had masturbated in front of her, after trying to kiss her and then trapping her between two rooms. Lauren O'Connor's internal memo about the toxic environment at the Weinstein Company that was created by his sexual harassment and other misconduct was a huge part of the initial New York Times story about the former studio head. I am a 28-year-old woman trying to make a living and a career. Harvey Weinstein is a 64-year-old, world-famous man and this is his company. The balance of power is me 0, Harvey Weinstein 10, she described in a memo at the time. Leah Seydoux wrote in The Guardian that Weinstein allegedly invited her to his hotel room for a drink, where he lunged at her and attempted to kiss her. She was able to get away, but she says that she had to see him on numerous occasions after that point due to his stature in the industry. This industry is based on desirable actresses. You have to be desirable and loved. But not all desires have to be fulfilled, even though men in the industry have an expectation that there should be, she explained. I think, and hope, that we might finally see a change. Only truth and justice can bring us forward. Lena Headey, Game of Thrones actress, took to Twitter on October 17 to claim that Weinstein had sexually harassed her on 2 occasions. In her tweets, she describes an encounter at the Venice Film Festival where Weinstein allegedly made a suggestive comment to her. I just laughed it off. I was genuinely shocked, she wrote. In another tweet, Headey wrote that Weinstein allegedly tried to get her up to his hotel room in LA years later. Thinking quickly, the actress says she told him that she wasn't interested in anything other than work. He was silent after I spoke, furious, she described, adding he paid for my car and whispered in my ear, don't tell anyone about this, not your manager, not your agent. Liza Campbell. In the UK publication The Sunday Times, Campbell alleged that Weinstein asked her to take a bath with him after meeting him at his hotel suite. Louisette Geiss alleged in a press conference that Weinstein had offered to meet with her at the 2008 Sundance Film Festival to go over a screenplay she was pitching. About 30 minutes in their meeting at his office, Weinstein left and returned wearing nothing but a robe with the front of his body exposed. He then told her he was getting in a hot tub and wanted to masturbate in front of her. Louise Godbold. In a blog post, Godbold recounted that Weinstein had allegedly trapped her in an empty meeting room, propositioned her for a massage, and then put his hands on her shoulders. No one needs that kind of publicity, least of all the hundreds of women Harvey must have propositioned over the decades, she said of the women coming forward. He will remain rich and powerful, the women will remain unknown, silent, hurting, because to speak up would be even more painful in this climate of victim blaming. Lucia Evans. In 2004, Evans, then an aspiring actress, told The New Yorker that she met with Weinstein after he approached her in a club in New York City. Weinstein later scheduled a meeting with her, and Evans alleges Weinstein forced her to perform oral sex on him. I said, over and over, I don't want to do this, stop, don't, she said, according to The New Yorker. I tried to get away, but maybe I didn't try hard enough. I didn't want to kick him or fight him, I just sort of gave up, she continued. That's the most horrible part of it, and that's why he's been able to do this for so long to so many women. People give up, and then they feel like it's their fault. Lupita Nyong'o. In a note for the New York Times, actress Lupita Nyong'o claims that Weinstein harassed her at his family home in Connecticut. She alleges that he led her into a bedroom and offered to give her a massage. I panicked a little and thought quickly to offer to give him one instead. It would allow me to be in control physically, to know exactly where his hands were at all times, Nyong'o wrote. Before long he said he wanted to take off his pants. I told him not to do that and informed him that it would make me extremely uncomfortable. He got up anyway to do so and I headed for the door, saying that I was not at all comfortable with that. Liza Anthony. British actress Anthony came forward in an interview with the Sunday Times to accuse Weinstein of rape. She claims that the producer visited her at her home, where she answered the door in a dressing gown. He pushed me inside and rammed me up against the coat rack and started fumbling at my gown, Anthony explained. He was trying to kiss me and shove inside me. The actress says she ultimately was not able to fight him off, calling the entire incident pathetic and revolting. Marissa Coughlin told The Hollywood Reporter that Weinstein asked her to meet at a hotel in 1999 to discuss a film role. Once there, she alleges that he requested a message from her, and suggested that she could be one of his special friends. According to Coughlin, Weinstein continued to proposition her with dates after their initial meeting. Melissa Sage Miller. Actress Melissa Sage Miller alleges that Weinstein harassed her when she was 24 years old. She told HuffPost that during a meeting in Weinstein's hotel room, the producer allegedly refused to let her leave until she kissed him. Sage Miller also claims that Weinstein coerced her into flying on his private plane by kidnapping her bags. "So I get on the plane, I walk up and I go, 'Harvey, you motherfucker,'" the actress remembers. "He's just sitting there. He pats his hand on the seat next to him, and he's like, 'See, Melissa, you can't say no to me. I always get what I want.'" Mia Kirshner. In an op in the Globe and Mail, Canadian actress Mia Kirshner wrote that Weinstein allegedly harassed her in a hotel room. While she did not detail the encounter, Kirshner described his treatment of her as like chattel that could be purchased with the promise of work in exchange for being his disposable orifice. Minka Kelly. Actress Minka Kelly took to Instagram to describe how Weinstein allegedly propositioned her to be his girlfriend at a meeting. "All I knew was not to offend this very powerful man and to get out of the situation as quickly as possible," she wrote. "I told him while flattered, I'd like to keep things professional. He said, 'Fine. I trust you won't tell anyone about this.' I said, 'Of course not. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.' The only way I could think to shut it down gracefully and excuse myself." Mira Sorvino. In the New Yorker piece, Sorvino said that in 1995, Weinstein started massaging her shoulders in a hotel room and chasing her around. She was able to leave, but in a separate incident, Weinstein showed up at her apartment after midnight under the guise that they needed to go over marketing ideas for a movie. When Sorvino told him that her boyfriend was on his way, the studio had left. She also told the magazine that she believes rejecting Weinstein's advances caused her career to suffer. "There may have been other factors, but I definitely felt iced out and that my rejection of Harvey had something to do with it," she explained. Romola Garegaray told The Guardian that Weinstein had an auditioned her for a film wearing nothing but a dressing gown. She described the situation as humiliating. "The transaction was just that I was there," she said. "The point was that he could get a young woman to do that I didn't have a choice, that it was humiliating for me and that he had the power. It was an abuse of power." Rose McGowan. In a Twitter thread on Thursday, October 12, McGowan alleged that Weinstein had raped her. Headstwitter.com. Rose McGowan. Status 9185678808656281661. At Jeff Bezos. "I told the head of your studio that HW raped me. Over I said it. He said it hadn't been proven. I said I was the proof," she wrote as part of a thread. McGowan declined to comment for the initial article for the New York Times, but the paper reported that in 1997, McGowan and Weinstein reached a $100,000 settlement after an episode in a hotel room. It's unclear exactly what the episode was. It was undisclosed at the time of the settlement. But in the wake of the article, McGowan took to Twitter to respond to the allegations against Weinstein. "This is the girl that was hurt by a monster. This is who you are shaming with your silence," she tweeted on October 8, alongside a photo of her younger self. "This is about a power structure that needs to be brought down. I cannot thank the women who came forward, the boss writers at NYT enough," she said in another tweet. Rosanna Arquette. Arquette went to Weinstein's hotel to pick up a script in the early 1990s. He was allegedly waiting for her in a bathrobe. Arquette told the New York Times that Weinstein asked for a massage, and when she suggested a professional masseuse, she said he grabbed her hand and pulled it toward his genitals. Arquette said she pulled away, and Weinstein reportedly said she was making a big mistake. Sarah Ann Masimas alleged to Variety that when she was interviewing for a nanny job in 2008, Weinstein hugged her in his underwear and said that he loved her. She didn't end up getting the job. "It felt like I dodged a bullet," she told Variety. Sarah Smith, a former Miramax employee in London who is going by the alias of Sarah Smith for legal reasons, alleged to the Daily Mail that Weinstein raped her in the basement of his London office 25 years ago. "I remember, this is the one thing I remember most clearly. I thought, I have to keep saying no," Smith recounted. "I was very aware that if a woman says no, it means no. And that was the one thing going through my mind throughout. No. It was over very quickly and then he just said, 'Get out.' I remember walking home that night and it was cold and sodden. I was mortified and ashamed. I didn't tell anyone." Sophie Dix alleged to The Guardian that Weinstein pushed her onto his bed in his hotel room and tried to forcibly remove her clothes during an incident in the 1990s. After she escaped and later returned, she alleged that Weinstein was masturbating. Tara Subkoff. Fashion designer and actress Tara Subkoff claims that Weinstein acted inappropriately toward her in the 1990s. In an interview with Variety, Subkoff says that the producer allegedly asked her to sit in his lap at a party. "I could feel that he had an erection," she remembers. I got quiet and got off his lap quickly. She added that he allegedly asked her to come outside with him and other things I don't want to share, and claims that she lost a role and was blacklisted from the film industry because she declined his advances. It became impossible for me to get work as an actress after this, so I then had to start a new career path and started Imitation of Christ, a fashion and art label, Sebkoff says. Tommy Ann Roberts in 1984, then aspiring actress Roberts told the New York Times, Weinstein offered to help her get a film role and was allegedly naked in his bathtub when she arrived at his hotel, where he told her to meet him. He said she couldn't get the role unless she was topless in front of him. Model Trish Goff recounted an alleged groping incident to the New York Times, explaining that she agreed to meet Weinstein for lunch in 2003. Goff claims that the producer asked about her love life during the meeting, and allegedly put his hands on her legs. When we finally stood up to go, he really started groping me, grabbing my breasts, grabbing my face and trying to kiss me, she remembers, adding that she allegedly told him please stop, please stop. Unnamed women. Various people have accused Weinstein of both sexual harassment and assault and have chosen to remain anonymous. Some said they chose not to identify themselves for fear of retaliation. He drags your name through the mud, and he'll come after you hard with his legal team, said one woman, who alleged that Weinstein had raped her in the New Yorker's story. Vutu Phuong. In a Facebook post translated by Saigoneer, actress Vutu Phuong claims that she agreed to meet Weinstein at a hotel room in 2008 to discuss a film role. When she arrived, he allegedly greeted her in a towel and offered to show her how to perform sex scenes. I can teach you, don't worry. Many stars have also been through this, she says Weinstein told her. The actress refused and managed to get away. Zelda Perkins. According to the New York Times, one of Weinstein's former assistants, Perkins, reportedly confronted Weinstein after he'd made a number of inappropriate remarks and requests to other female employees. She also didn't like his treatment of other women. Zoe Brockbrick told The Guardian that she was 23 when Weinstein allegedly cornered her and asked her for a massage while he was naked. She says she locked herself in a bathroom to escape. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you can seek help by calling the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 800-656-HOPE 4673. For more resources on sexual assault, visit RAIN and Rape on Campus, Know Your Icks, and the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. Related the Harvey Weinstein scandal, explained. Watch this.